Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is an exciting day, an exciting moment. We're going to introduce the next version of our AI capabilities today, and I'm going to take you through it together with Justas on what we've built, where we are, and what you can expect in your data environment pretty soon. And like the title is saying, there's nothing artificial about our intelligence, and we're going to talk about what that means today and how we're thinking about the future of using AI in the context of business decision making, using the insights you're getting from your customers and actually being able to connect the dots across different teams, across different goals that your business has. But today we're going to geek out a little bit on the product, showing what we've built, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and how we got there. So take a nice seat. If you have questions, if you want to ask something, you can use the QA. It's a button here below for putting all your questions in there. We'll curate them. I'll probably take a few as we go. I'll be hosting and Justas will be showing. So it's going to be a nice duet here today. And if you have any questions, just drop them in as we go. And there will also be time at the end of today after sharing for deeper discussion. So it's going to be a fun hour. And I hope we can cover all your questions that you might have. So let's get started. I think today is exciting for us, for everyone to share a little bit about how we got here and also talk about the road to what we call actionable intelligence. At the start of the year, for many of you who will remember, we launched the first Journey AI product. And what it did was basically take some transcripts or text from your interviews and turn that into a journey. And that was the start of our journey, of our path towards this actionable intelligence. I'm going to introduce that a little bit better in a second. Over the course of the year, we were very fortunate to work with 35 enterprise companies that we call our design partners to get this to the next level, to really understand what is needed to build this in at scale so that it actually starts to work. And today, we're going to introduce the second version of that, and it's going to be rolling out to all your workspaces. For those who do not know TheyDo yet, I will set the stage a little bit, but I think the most important thing is that when we started TheyDo, the journey management platform, we were like, okay, these journeys typically hang on a wall or a digital whiteboard, and they're like collecting dust after a single project, right? So we started a thing called journey management, basically taking the idea of a journey and then starting to bring in data, starting to bring in collaboration, starting to bring in the different parts of your roadmaps so that you could actually say, hey, it is becoming a living thing. But actually where we're going today is saying like, it is truly alive. So it's a little Frankenstein joke, but funny enough, this is what the Journey AI launch is about today. Basically creating a digital twin of your experience to start actually having that real interaction with what your customers are experiencing, what they do, to really understand how they feel, what they need, and where the pain points are today, tomorrow, and looking back over the last period. It's nothing new, right? AI is becoming the thing in many platforms, but what is important is that context matters a lot. There's a lot of tools, even if you just use your research calls or feedback from your customers and put it into a general purpose tool like a GPT, you'll get some insights. But that's not really the point. If you don't have context, if you don't understand what matters to the business, if you don't understand where in the journey what is happening, you're missing out. And that is the core principle of what we are trying to do with Journey AI. So before we go in, maybe backtracking on some of the things that we are innovating around and to set the stage for today. So like I said, we have 35 customers that were joining us in the what we call the design partnership, the private beta. They were so generous to share data, to give feedback, to work with us, and to do this. I don't know, Justas, do you wanna speak a bit about your experience before I continue?
Genuinely, I have to say that it was a pleasure, and I was surprised how open and willing our design partners were, not only in sharing the data or providing the feedback, actually even participating in workshops that we did. We really tried to kind of go and step out of the box, to consider what if, AI could be as powerful as we thought it could be. Like, how would that change their workflows, their processes, but more importantly, how that could accelerate the decision time, from uncovering a problem all the way to actually uncovering a real opportunity that could deliver significant value to their customers. So I'm genuinely humbled, and I'm very, very, very thankful to all of them who participated and shared their wealth of knowledge, and quite a lot of stuff that you will see. We cannot even lay claim to it. I mean, it came from our customers, and it's so excited because of that.
Yeah, so we have like a 90 times faster from input to insight stat. It's from an actual use case where we saw typically it takes 90 days to go from initial research or feedback collection to produce something meaningful that people can rally around and take a decision on. And we brought it back to the same day, which is very high speed. But also, our goal here was to focus on quality. And again, having that context of the journey framework, which I will not go into today, but having that context is going to be essential moving forward to make sense of all that data that is coming through from all the different systems, from your support logs, from feedback, from your data, from your transcripts, from your research. And that basically is what we are setting out to show you today. In a world of AI, context is king. And we boil down your feedback, your insight, your pain points, your frustration in working with all these disparate data sets in your companies to essentially, from the first launch of Journey AI, focus on the four key opportunities that I've simplified a little bit here. We have a bit more work behind the scenes in our TheyDo platform, but it boils down to these four things that we're gonna tackle, or we were tackling in the last few months, and today we're gonna tell you all about it. So data is all over the place. We have all these different sources. So how might we introduce multi-source processing? One big topic. The other thing that we noticed is that you don't want to have a black box. You really want to be understanding where are things coming from, and then being able to see how that came to your journey, how that insight, how that pain point came to be. So how might we build a human in the loop experience was one of the things that we focused on. And the third thing is that it should be scalable. It should not be one off. Like our Journey AI, the first one was like, you need to do it manually. You need to input one thing at a time. And it starts working. It's interesting, but at scale, that obviously doesn't work. You need a lot of people. Well, that might be not useful for analyzing a lot of the feedback and the insights that you want to get to. And the last thing that we're focused on is that from here, taking that like 90 times faster from input to insight journey or path that people are taking, is like, how do we create executive insights across journeys? Because we know a journey can be quite overwhelming and it's not consumable for everyone who might not be understanding the customer reality that they're facing today. But having a simple insight is useless if you don't know where it's coming from. So those four major opportunities we try to tackle. And ultimately, where this is going is what we like to say is we're marrying the numbers and the emotions at scale and basically start to allow you to answer questions like this. Like, why is churn up in Europe? What were we doing about it? So journeys, insight, metrics, opportunities, they all play a role in understanding this. And in true TheyDo fashion, as you know, the backbone of our company is rooted in the triple diamond methodology, the philosophy. But in an enterprise, there's a whole ecosystem of tools that gather, capture data, that have unstructured data, that have structured data, that are working on delivering new solutions to our customers. It's hard work. But if you think about what it is that ultimately every company has a version of this in place, whether implicit or explicit. But to get to the root cause of what is causing a business problem, you need to have an understanding of where and what journey things are happening to bubble up the right insights, to understand the pain points, to come to an opportunity, which all happens in the first diamond. And there's a little octopus there. So maybe that's a nice story to start off today with. And this octopus, I think it started in the place where you are right now. Justas, where are you right now for everyone who didn't catch you in the beginning?
I'm currently in Vilnius, Lithuania, capital and my hometown. Yeah.
The octopus became a meme in our company because if you think about it, it has all these tentacles. It's gobbling up things from the bottom of the ocean, and it can suck in many different things into one place. And that became a metaphor for how we're thinking about Journey AI. Like the Journey framework is that living, breathing thing that takes up all these different insights and takes the ones that are useful. And that has always been like a design metaphor that we're using to build out Journey AI. So we're going to use the octopus today. And Project Octopus was actually the name of the version that we are building. And it will probably be a meme forever in this company that we are referring to. We considered calling it that way, but we landed on Journey AI to be a little bit more straightforward what it is. We didn't call it Octopus, but it might have been Octopus if we were in a different reality. So this is the octopus. But today, let me tell you what we're going to show you, and I'll set the stage a little bit. And we're going to have like 3 demos of what we're doing. And of course, again, if you have questions or you want to know more, please drop them in the QA below as we go, and then we'll see. Thank you, Adrian, for the emoji. It is indeed the octopus emoji. So remember it. So we're going to show you what journey mining today does. And what we have done a few weeks back, for those who were there, the first thing we actually did was significantly improved the journey mapping experience in TheyDo. So that was launched a few weeks ago. It not only looks really good, but it's also faster, it's snappy, it handles more and vaster data. And that was also one of the things that we noticed is that, yeah, if you have a lot of these sources coming through, you're going to have a lot of insights. So how do we handle that? And you also want to be able to reveal journeys, but update them and keep them alive and make sure that all these insights are flowing. So there's a little brain icon on some of these pain points that I'm not going to tell what that is yet, but we're going to go through that. So this is the first thing that we're gonna see, basically starting with journey mining. And I think the most exciting bit that we want to introduce today is on this part of the thing is traceback, to give everyone involved the opportunity to really dig down into where are things coming from, not only from the source, but in what journey do these things happen, and where is actually what that insight was based on coming from. And as you can see, sometimes what people say is not necessarily what they mean. So this is an interesting one. And the last thing that Justas will introduce is we have designed a way to truly understand how these insights are evolving over time. And without spilling the beans, we call it the insight score. And I would like to hand it over to Justas to take you through the first piece of truly unlocking this Journey AI into your company to understand where the biggest pain points are in what journeys and to start introducing some scale to all the data that you're collecting.
Happy to do so. Um, yeah, I'll have to kind of explain this a bit because we were talking about executive insights, and this is where the story actually starts. And we're gonna go deep, 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 and then we're gonna talk about Journey AI in just a second. So this is what we call the lifecycle journey, or the very top of the journey framework. You can see it as the most abstracted view that a company leader, like in our case, Jochem, with the executive team, would be looking at, on a weekly, on a monthly basis. And in this particular view, naturally, you don't need to have, or you actually don't want to have anything overwhelming, but you really, really want to understand where the biggest pain points are, the biggest opportunities are, and then of course marry that with actual quantitative data, with numbers. So I'm gonna hint at this for a second, and we're gonna come back to this with the top pains. But in this particular dashboard, right, we already have a journey plotted into it. And this is the whole complete holistic customer lifecycle model representing an insurance company, essentially. And of course, the whole life cycle of a person looking for insurance, asking to fill out a claim, and then so on and so forth. So I'm gonna deep dive into this and just kind of zoom out a bit. Like, this is now one level deeper. we're getting a bit more low-level insights, and naturally, I mean, you get lots more, metrics that you might care about specific particular journey phases, all the way from not being a customer to becoming a customer. And here, what I found most exciting, of course, is the lane that we call the opportunities. This is exactly where your work actually is happening, right? This is where you're chasing particular opportunities, solving biggest customer pain points, and of course, marrying that with your business uh, goals. So, we have some that are closed, some are there that are still in progress, but where do they come from? Well, in our world, they should come from insights, right? And again, another hint, we have top insights and that whole lane is empty. But here, specifically in this lane, I kind of left it empty because there's no opportunity here, right? Where we're talking about a person trying to become a customer, trying to get insured and accepted, and we have another, as we call, nested journey here where there's nothing happening here, right? While here something's yellow, something's green, color-coded system signaling that something is definitely not perfect and something where they're apparently fairly happy. So I'm going to go one more level deep. And here, this is where you're going to see immediately again that there's nothing, and then there's an empty journey here, right? And this is what we call, an L2 essentially, a level 2 journey. It's fairly deep. It's about a specific point in time about customers trying to ask questions about their offer as far as insurance goes. So this is what we're going to try and mine now. So what does mining do? Well, mining basically means trying to bring in your raw research and populate the whole customer journey, literally by just using AI. So again, I'm going to open it. It's fairly ready. It's absolutely empty, as you can see. And what I'm doing now, I'm going to choose a template first and foremost, right? So in this case, I'm actually going to go with one of our own. We have a micro journey template, and this particular journey, there's nothing too special. We have an insight lane. I'll just click continue, and this is where the magic starts happening, because this is the place where I can upload quite a lot of files, a bunch of interviews, a bunch of surveys, all in one go. And I'm going to do that with just 4 interviews out of interest and time. I'm selecting them. I'm sure you won't be able to see my screen because I'm sharing the browser, but as you can see, I've selected 4 distinct interviews, Alex, Jennifer, Margaret, and Priya. These are TXT files. Absolutely no formatting, no nothing. They're typically exported from transcript software that you might use. If your company is using even tools like Otter, or Gong, actually that's a default option. You can just quickly download a bunch of those. We're doing this on a weekly basis, actually. We're taking our sales team's calls, product team calls, research calls, and we're actually just dumping them into AI. Now, I've selected these files. I can actually add more, and especially if it's a format that, let's say, we currently don't support, because currently we're working with TXT. We also support spreadsheets like, CSV as a default format. But you can actually just paste in any text from a Word document, a PDF, and we know that some folks have, PowerPoints full of research. It's as easy as just opening it, selecting all with Control A or Command A and just pasting it here. Now, we have these 4. I'll just click to start uploading. And this is where, okay, as usual with the demo gods, I feel that there's a bit of an issue with the side panel. Apologies, I'll try to reload. There we go. I'll try this again. Let me go back. There we go. I'll set up a new one fresh so we wouldn't have an issue. There we go. Just gonna repeat this very quickly. Just choosing the template, clicking continue, selecting the files, and start uploading. There we go. Sometimes with my cache in the browser happens, I have development environments open all day, so really sorry about that. So here is where there's some involvement where, of course, you have to do. And there's the only thing essentially you need to do is to tell AI what kind of a research this is. Is it an interview? Is it a survey that you did, which typically comes in a spreadsheet? Support log, which can be a transcript from your call center, or it can be even a chatbot conversation from Intercom or Zendesk, or feedback. essentially, right? Feedback, that you might collect even on Trustpilot, in essence. We're actually able to kind of crunch those if you want. Well, in our case, I'm gonna say interview. You will see in a second why this is also valuable afterwards, because if you're mixing and matching different sources, having that label helps you trace it back and see where a particular insight came from. And in this case, I only click extract snippets. And now I'm going to try and repeat this. Those who have spoken with me or have seen me speaking this is going to be the same exact spiel. We've designed this essentially to imitate and complement the way a professional researcher would be mapping a customer journey map. It really starts by reading closely, in depth, all those conversations, right? All those interviews that I've just dumped in, and trying to find nuggets of information, right? Particular quotes that describe a pain, a particular struggle, or maybe there's something exciting and awesome that worked, right? It could be a potentially become a gain. Usually in those conversations, of course, there's a lot of information about potential needs, or generally you can also, describe something like an observation, right? You could say, well, a customer is, waking up in the morning at 7 a.m. That's probably neither a pain nor a gain nor a need. Well, might be a need to wake up to go to work, but it's more of an observation. And the reason I'm mentioning those, because when you extract those quotes, when you try to put them together, for the researchers in here, probably everyone will know we're using affinity mapping technique behind the scenes. That's where you impose that code, right? Is it an actual pain based on these quotes? Is it a need, or is it a gain? So on and so forth. So that's what's happening behind the scenes. AI is literally doing the same thing that you would be doing. It's trained to do it the way a professional researcher would be doing it. And now I talked so long, so I'm happy to see this. Once you have a bunch of those insights, right, you kind of lay them out and you try to impose a sort of a chronology, right? And a journey map has a chronology. It is a time sequence essentially, right? So that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to see what happens before, during, and after, which is what you can probably see behind the scenes. And it will create phases of a customer journey map and lower level steps describing what exactly your customers, people, are trying to do to achieve a particular goal. In this case, our personas will be asking questions about their offer. And we're almost at the very end. There we go. I spoke enough, and there we go. Here's the magical reveal with some content that you already can see. So I did nothing. Just uploaded the files. I've specified that they're interviews, and that's it. You got a journey map. And the key differentiator since the version 1 that we launched earlier this year is the fact that, of course, it's now based on multiple conversations all at once, which is why it's so powerful. Those insights immediately are informed by multiple conversations. Now, so that's mapping, right? We've just created the journey map. How do we now know that this is not made up, right? And for those who are familiar with AI, you might have heard this term called hallucinations, right? How can we be sure, that this is not made up? Well, what's very cool is that when we start zooming in and when we're reviewing, the phases, research and discovery, identifying your needs as a step, when we find a particular insight, in this case, a need for clearer communication and comparisons, if I click on this small icon that says trace it back, it opens up the side panel immediately and it highlights a quote. So if you are familiar with that conversation, especially if you yourself were the interviewer, right? For you, this becomes fairly powerful, a validation thing. And this is not what usually you can get when you use, those typical chat-based, interfaces, right? That give you fantastic answers, but sometimes struggle with trying to kind of get you back all the way to the original source to make sure or to convince you essentially that it's not made up. So in this case, this insight, I love this. It's based on 3 interviews, right? So it's relevant to Jennifer, Alex, and Margaret. And the first one already, I need clearer comparisons of coverage options, is coming from the quote that you see highlighted. Now,
You want to do a few questions, Justas?
yeah,
Like a
let's do
few.
that.
So I think this is awesome that we're actually seeing it. I love that you're praying to the demo gods, but they didn't hear you. So it still works. Nice. The first question from Jennifer Alt. Can you update, edit the mapping output?
Can you edit? Yes. I mean, you can, like, we are in this interesting state now, right? Where I don't know if you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's this banner that says journey generated. You can accept or reject the results. It's this, you could call this is the safe mode, right? To use a computer term, right? You can review these insights. You can actually move them to another step if you would like to. You can change the phase and step. You can even go in and change the title. You can change the, yeah, by the way, a description even is created here, right? Trying to summarize the key points. All of this is editable, right? I can do this right now. I don't know. Let's say uh, I don't like the word users. I'll people. There we go, right? I've just did that in essence. So you can easily update this, change the type even. All of this is available up until the last moment where you might say, you know what, I actually don't like the result that I got. I just want to kind of scrap all of this. And if you click on that trash bin, I mean, we'll kind of ask you to kind of tell us what went wrong because we're really, really trying to learn from what didn't work, especially. You can even kind of provide that feedback and everything gets purged. So up until the moment you click accept, you can actually edit this as much as you like. So everything's editable.
All right. I'm gonna take some more. This is wonderful, says Jan Willem Franke. I say I don't use pains and gains as types. Does it use our own taxonomy? Does it understand that?
A very good question. Not yet. I mean, we know that we can do it. It's now a matter of actually trying to collect a good enough sample size. So not only would you be able to kind of choose the taxonomy, but AI would be able to understand it based on the definitions you could give it. Maybe even a sort of a template that you could give it, like what's the expected output, and maybe provide some examples. Essentially, you would be kind of fine-tuning the model in that sense. So that's something we're planning for next year. So you could have more control in this part, but currently it is producing pains, gains, needs, and observations, which we found covers 90% of cases, but we understand people like to fine tune it and tweak it, and we were definitely going to take care of that.
All right. So one more, and then there's questions in the chat and in the QA. So I'm switching between. So I hope we get to cover everything, and the ones I'm not covering now, we'll do at the end. Let me see. Here is a question from Kayam. I hope I say that right. If I keep adding transcripts to the same journey as I'm collecting interviews, does it create themes of pains or expectations? Or does it keep creating net new cards? And this is maybe a teaser to where we're going, but
Yeah.
I'll let you answer it a little bit if you want, and then we can move on.
That used to be the biggest pain points that our customers had with the first version of Journey AI, because every new evidence file, so to speak, used to create new cards. And we struggled with that because we have this thing called filters where you can actually go back and filter out for a specific period of time and see how the journey looked like. So do we essentially then let you or enable you to kind of continue creating new stuff and then you enable you to kind of go back in time and compare those individual cards? Or do we kind of approach this a bit differently? We didn't have a good answer. Now we do. So what Jochem is kind of hinting at, we're going to show that in a couple of minutes. But I'll hint at that. You will definitely be able to start seeing themes. That's for sure.
All right. I'll save some more questions for later. Justas,
Nice.
please continue.
Cool. Okay, so let me go back to this one. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but as I edited this, right, I changed something in the description. The AI icon disappeared. That's not a bug. That's a feature because we also know that once you start overriding it manually, you essentially claim it in a way, right? So you say, no, I kind of tweaked it. Now it doesn't matter that it originated as an AI. Insight actually is now yours, curated. Now, I showed you the evidence. We checked the transcript, but I really want to kind of elaborate on a few more things. And first, I will start with these beautiful faces, these emotions that you can see here. That's also not a mistake. If you can see something is yellow, something is red. If I could find anything, I know maybe I could even find. Now it feels like this journey is fairly negative comparatively. There's a reason for that because every quote that you see here, like if we trace it back, this particular verbatim quote, when we extract it, our AI engine does sentiment scoring, which is why you're able to see that it's negative or positive or neutral, right? There's a bit of objectivity there, trying to read into that statement, and it actually is able to detect sarcasm even, right? So if a person's saying that everything's awesome, but like the context suggests differently, it will catch that. The reason that is important is let me kind of zoom back into this. And the one typical question we used to get from our customers is, this is all good and great, but like, how do I know what's most important, right? And if we're able to understand the sentiment behind those quotes and actually catch it, well, we actually can leverage that. So let me go back to those filters, right? In the inside filter, there is that brain icon that says score. And if I choose top 10, well, it actually reduces to the top 10 most important ones. I can actually combine this with another one. And let's say maybe I only care about needs, right? I don't even care about pains. Well, you see, the journey starts changing. The reason for that is because we know a few things. We know how many unique conversations you've uploaded and what's behind those conversations, what's the sentiment. And that is the basis for the insight score. It's trying to be an objective measure, trying to quantify your qualitative data and say, look, the impact factor, right? This is based on all that sentiment that is compounded in this insight, right? So it's a summed up value essentially of every single thing that is being said. And to get to the score, we also have the reliability factor, just to make sure that it's at least a bit more scientific than, quotes coming from a single conversation, right? So in this case, the reliability factor is 10%. So when you multiply a 14.4 by 10%, well, naturally you arrive at something like 1.44. And then that becomes so awesome because you can use the filter, or Jochem himself did this immediately. My tech lead, Marek, did the same thing. We just went straight into the insight list, clicked here to sort by score, and there you go. Like you even have this in a list view if you actually prefer this. And especially if people who you work with are used to this rather than a journey, you can actually use that here as well.
That's so cool, Justas. Thank you for sharing. I think there's many more questions, and in the interest of time, I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep the pace a bit. What
Yeah.
we have just seen is the next version of what we call journey mining. And where we are going with this is that there were some questions hinting about, okay, what's next? What does that do? Like, is it a one-off, or do we actually can we actually take this and build this out? And this is the big lift that we are going to show today, because yes, that is the thing. Once an insight, and especially once a need has been revealed, that need might not change in a year. Maybe that need is going to be there for a long time. The question is, how important is it right now to act on it? And I think that
Yeah.
is what we are going to show next. Where we are going is what we build on journey mining, is what we call insight mining. Because now you have that baseline journey set up. It's just one journey. But what if you have new data coming in? What if you have more sources coming in? What if you have different feedback coming in? And how does that evolve over time? So from here, we're going to go a little bit deeper and start to look into what happens when we have more data coming in. What about the current data that's there, the insights that are there? And we call that enrichment. And then the last thing, because we were already hearing some people in the chat about opportunities, where are then the biggest opportunities in those journeys? So taking journey mining to the next level and making sure that the system works, it's the scoring that we've built out that will allow you to do that. So just as, well, why don't you take it over back instead of me showing like fancy slides, just show the real deal and let's go through it.
Nice. I hope you can still see my screen. Let us know if not. Um, Yeah, let me kind of go back. Let me open up the same, journey dashboard. Again, I'm gonna deep dive into this customer lifecycle model just to see how deep we are, right? I'm gonna go into I become a customer. There, look at that, right? It's red now because you saw there's so much pain there, and this is that journey. This is the one that didn't work, and this is that journey that we've just worked on. Right next to it, adjacent, is one called I accept insurance and become a member. Now, the assumption is that probably, as we all know, interviews, when we conduct them, they are focused on a particular life cycle stage, on a particular experience, but they might start spilling over into other areas, right? So, of course, they're useful to everyone else. More importantly, and this is something we deal with as well as they do, our sales team might be talking to someone, right? That we in product team we don't even know, but those insights might be worth gold essentially. So how do we leverage that? So if the transcripts, surveys, feedback, support logs are already uploaded, like we've just done, we can actually go into another journey. So in this case, I accept insurance and become a member. And as you can see, it has something already from the past week. I can actually leverage whatever we've just uploaded. And all I have to do in this particular journey, I need to click on this wonderful icon here in the right side lane and say mine insights. And here I basically can specify which types of insights I want to, and this is where the hard coding is visualized. I'm gonna keep all of them, and maybe I will only kind of zoom in on whatever we uploaded now, essentially. So let's see if, and I don't know if this, I don't know those transcripts. So let's see how demo gods will act now. I literally just gonna click continue and see whatever we're gonna go back. So what AI is doing now, to refer back to a previous question, it's literally first trying to read everything in this journey, every single insight in every single step. And it's first trying to see, is there anything new in that research that can match an existing insight? And that's what Jochem called insight enrichment, right? And we're going to see that in just a second because I didn't see an error yet. There we go. And what's so cool about this, right? If I continue adding new research, right? Instead of getting a bunch of new cards, I actually can see that, well, look, we've just added 4 interviews and 9 insights, right, were enriched, and only one was worth to be created anew, right? So we can kind of go in and check, right? Appreciation for thoroughness, this one, something here as well. Insurance selection process, that apparently looks like something new, as you can see. Convenience of digital access, right? There's a bunch of stuff here that got added, right? And in this case here, right, what's awesome is the fact that, again, until we accept these results, I can continue refreshing the page. Your colleague can come in, right? Until you accept this, all of those highlights will remain until you're kind of ready. So again, we're trying to help you review this content before you actually switch over and start working on it. Until everyone in your team, if you find that valuable, is acquainted with anything new that was added, right? So in that sense, all those insights continue evolving and growing over time. Now, shall I do an opportunity reveal here, or should we do that in the next one? Joachim, what do you think?
Well, wherever you want, let's do here. Let's try
Well,
it out. Let's first
let's,
accept and see what the
yeah,
data says.
there we go. So in this journey, I think we already kind of have enough. So I'm just going to add a new lane, right? Because opportunities is a separate building block, as we call them. And because there's already quite a lot of content in those steps, well, now we can create actionable next steps, right? That's what an opportunity essentially is. So I can run opportunity on particular, steps where I have some research. Let's see, I could even do here. And AI is now doing something similar. It's trying to read the context of the journey, trying to understand where the insights sit and what specifically in those insights, and it will try to create next actions for you to start considering with your team. So in just a second, we should see a bunch. There we go. Right. So document and process clarity. Right. That's a pain. We see that it's coming up. Oh, across 9 conversations here, right? So if I open this up, what immediately I can see is there's a very quick, and we found that our customers really like this template, a very quick, uh, very, I feel actionable summary of the key points and of course, most importantly, bottom line of what's happening, right, and why you should act on this now. And as you can see, if I go into insights, well, there you go. You can actually trace this back and see how many different quotes and which particular insight this is based on. So you can go back to the evidence. You can kind of click on those specific, quotes, and even this one, how to submit claims, right? I need to understand claim submission from a particular opportunity and go back all the way to the original research and see where that came from.
To quote Jan Willem Franken, this is pretty bonkers indeed. So
Nice.
thank you. Very
Well,
impressive,
we're
Justas.
not done. We're not done yet, right? So,
All right. Where do you want to go next? Because we have a few more things up our sleeves.
yeah. Well, listen, I think what we found very interesting is, again, I'm gonna start with the dashboard, right? Again, I'm gonna anchor you on this, right? What I'm trying to kind of build this here is to essentially build a dashboard for Jochem or an insurance CEO, right? To see what the biggest pain points are, right? So I'm going back deep. I'm going back to the journey that we worked on. And here, because now we have quite a lot of research here, and you can see in the experience line that something definitely is happening here, right? You can actually create themes out of those insights, right? So no longer an executive needs to go and read every single insight, nor do you need to kind of go in and try to create those summaries. Again, you just kind of need to click on that AI icon. And as you can see now, we have this option that is available because nested journeys are added to this journey. So I just need to click Summarize Journeys, click Continue in this case. And AI, just the same as with other options, it's now reading what's in those journeys, and it will try to create a higher level summary, right? Which in turn, what's really cool, will actually not only just combine those insights and retain the original evidence, but it actually will sum up those scores. So any combined insights, there we go, right? Literally can give you an indication where themes start emerging, right? So in this case, I immediately see that clear communication information definitely has a higher score, right? So if I open this up, you can see, well, there we go. It's based on 9 insights coming from the journey below, right? So, and again, I can go back and check the quote. So nothing is actually made up. And this one, just the same, has very clear summary, what the key issues are, what the needs are, right? More granular ones, and maybe even a hint of opportunities, right?
So what
Where
you're saying, Justas, is like from here, I can do two things, check all the evidence here at the highest level, but I could also jump right back into what journey this actually is happening or originating from.
exactly. So if I click here and I choose a particular need, so let's say this one, immigrant professionals healthcare insurance claim, right? I can go back and check. Well, there we go. This one is coming from the journey called I ask questions about my offer. I can even kind of click here and see which particular step this is coming from. But not only that, I can click on this and I can see where exactly in the journey that need is coming from. So you're literally triangulating, right, your research to that particular higher level summary. So all the time you can trace it back and see, that it's not only made up, but where and how the context is looking like for your customers.
This is so cool. Okay, go back to the top dashboard one more time to pull up all the opportunities that we've captured to also
Yeah.
see how that is bubbling up.
Yeah, we can do that. So we've populated this one. I become a customer. We can go into the life cycle model now because we have, of course, a bunch more journeys here, as you can see, right? So I will, this is where we had the original opportunities, right? And these are already existing, and maybe they're even coming stale. So I will just do this one more time. I'll click summarize. I'll click continue, right? And what AI again? I've just told you this, right? AI is now looking at all those journeys, at all those summaries in those journeys, and it will create summaries of summaries, essentially. And here in that journey, once we have these highest possible level, actually not even the highest, we can go one more level up if we want. Once we have these themes, if you will, then we again can repeat the opportunity reveal. So opportunity reveal can happen on any level, on a specific journey level, if you have a team working on that, as well as on a strategic level, right? So the company could actually see where they should put their focus on. And this one might take just a bit longer because, of course, those journeys are big, but there we go. I'm not that shocked. Well, there are 40 summaries. There we go. There's a bunch of stuff being bubbled up.
Can we take some questions while we go?
Yeah, let's
Justas?
do that.
So when we are editing the insights as we go, the AI icon disappears because it becomes human. Do we lose the traceback capability? Is a question.
No, that remains, and we are actually going to extend that capability even to manual insights because we understand sometimes, of course, hopefully that doesn't happen often, but sometimes when you don't have a recording, you don't have anything, but you kind of just jotted out some notes, you should be able to kind of create an insight and add your evidence to it. So we're going to bring back that functionality, manual insights. But now, when you update, when you change something, you can still trace it back. No worries.
Some more questions. Let's go. Tao asks, how does it work if you upload different types of files? I saw in the demo that you choose interview. Does it apply
Yeah.
to all uploaded files? I think you mentioned it, but maybe we should show it.
Yes, I mean when I'm uploading files, like so here, like I can immediately do this even here, essentially. When I'm uploading those files and I'm selecting them, let's say when I did it now and I click start uploading, this is very important. This choice becomes very important because you can mix and match surveys, support, feedback, and interviews, and this influences the score because the reliability factor that we talked about, right? It really depends on you mixing and matching different sources because we've built that out literally working with our design partners, and we learned from them that that is the way how you should do this, right? The insight becomes more reliable if not only does it have more interviews, but it actually is based on additional evidence. So if customers are complaining to your support team and you've done a deep dive with an interview and maybe you ran a survey, let's say a CSAT, and you see that, customers are complaining about something, you can mix and match that and you bring in those files here and then AI takes that into account.
Nice. We got some questions from Niels, and I think I can merge them. How does AI score compared to manual insights? They won't have any scores assigned. And then the other question is, does it also build its own opportunity scores based on the insights? In caps lock, pretty please. Niels, you know what's cool about this is that this is the foundation, right? This is the whole part of working with many of these companies to really understand, like, can we build an accurate scoring model? And now that the answer is yes, and we can start using it, this has a natural bubble up to opportunities, which is something we're building, to journeys, which is something we're considering. So at some point, you could even understand like your whole framework can be understood by a scoring model and can be broken down into those pieces. So the reality is today it works all the way on insights. The reality next quarter will be we'll build all this to the custom manual insights, and then we can start building this up all the way into the top of your journey framework. So this is just the start of what that scoring can do for us. Love it, you say. Thank you, Niels. We love it too, and I am so curious what you're gonna make with this. More questions. Let me see. Um, Ismail says, looks good. How can I add data to existing journeys where phases and steps are predetermined?
Easy, like literally have any journey that you're ready to go. Um, Hover on your insight lane, click on this icon and click upload. As easy as that. And what AI does then, it respects those phases and steps you've established. No worries. And it, as you saw, even if you have insights, right? It also respects those insights. I'll reveal one cool trick actually. You can create a bunch of insights manually, like hypotheses essentially. Statements like "I like buying jeans," for example, and dump in a bunch of interviews about people buying jeans. If you do that, if you upload those files, AI will extract quotes and try to match them to that insight you've created manually, which essentially becomes a way to validate your hypotheses. So just yeah, that's a thing I really, really, really suggest you try, to be honest.
We we started TheyDo to fight a little bit about the inside out journey practices that exist, right?
Yeah.
We go into a room, we do not talk to customers, we map it out, and we believe we have something, right? And I mean, today that's even less of a concern than it was a few years ago. But you could do the same there, where you say, like, based on all the data that is in my workspace, I think a journey exists like this. And then you could mine that entire workspace for, do we actually have insights that back that up? Do we have content that says this step is there and there's actually pain or specific needs related to that? So there's a few cool things you can explore with the data you have in that way. Let me take a few more questions as we go. I know there is people asking about, like, can this work with Figma or Miro? Multimodality, I think they're hinting about, but also bringing content over. Not maybe for this specific webinar. I don't know if you've already discovered, like, simple copy paste. What you could do, like, literally copy paste your post-its from a Miro board and just copy paste them into a lane, and they will turn into insights magically. But if you say you are actually doing research and you're making notes as you go on a Miro board, just copy paste them all and put them in the text input, and again the same process happens. So there's many ways to do this. What we don't do is, like, take a screenshot of your journey from Miro and then put it in here. That's not a workflow that this supports, but there's many ways to basically work really fast to get off the whiteboard and to start managing using journeys and not running a business on a whiteboard, because that becomes impossible with all these different variations of it. So there's
Yeah.
many ways to get that data in, but maybe not for today to go into the details. I hope you don't mind. Let me see another example or a good question. Sorry, there was a Patrick saying, the example insight we looked at with 9 different customer feedback instances were connected, which didn't appear to impact the scoring value with much significance. What would start to influence the 2 scoring factors specific to a singular insight?
Yeah. Well, we have a person with a very good eye, I have to say. So we first really wanted to make sure that the scoring mechanism works before we merged it, or married it rather, with that enrichment feature. And that's the very, very first thing that we're coming back to immediately after New Year's. So that if you start adding new research, not only insights will be enriched, the score will be recalculated. Just the same as you would be able to kind of add additional quotes even manually and kind of assign that sentiment, the experience impact to those quotes. That also will trigger a score recalculation. So that's one missing thing that we just didn't manage to do before the holidays, but the team is already looking into that, and I'm sure that's the first thing we're gonna do next year.
That's also a little bit on me, right? I said we got to do the release to everyone before we go
Yeah.
on the winter break, and then we'll come back. So, but this is the start, right? This is just the start of where this is actually going and getting a lot of value to everyone who's been using this. So, so much more to come. But before we go there, I think we have room for 2 more questions before we're gonna wrap up for today. Um, so let me take a question from Catherine Lee. I hope I say that right. Does it only synthesize or does it also analyze? For instance, it not only tells what happens, but also why it realized that the customers do something because of particular reasons. Not sure if that is something you can answer easily, Justas. I think so.
It's a very good question. Well, I would say it really depends on the depth of the research. As we like to say in our industry, GIGO, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So if you really, really have good research, Uh, well, the large language models are fairly powerful in trying to reveal, what is the underlying truth there. So in this case, it's not uncommon to see AI in the description trying to catch these nuances. And especially if you have these vague quotes comparatively, it understands the context where that's being mentioned to kind of try and create that insight in a way that explains, what's going on. So it does do analysis, not just synthesis. But again, we're enabling you, like a co-pilot, to go in and review and check this, because it really needs a human expert eye to make sure that it's correct.
So there are some other questions around integrations and what's next. So maybe I'll wrap up with something more visible
Yep.
for where we are going. Because as I mentioned, like this is the proper version that we were working really hard on to get it done. And it's rolling out to workspaces today. And obviously, if you are an enterprise customer that has certain policies, then please check the yes, we'll enable AI to make sure that you are able to use it, but it is there. It's rolling out to everyone's workspaces. You can have access to it if you have a management or strategic plan with TheyDo. And even for the free starter plans, we have every 3 hours a generation, and we'll probably add some more capabilities to this so you can use it more frequently. So this is rolling out. Everything that you saw today was on production. It was not a development environment. This was real TheyDo showing a journey AI in TheyDo. So multi-score journey mining, multi-source journey mining, sorry, is released today. We got insight scoring that's coming to all the AI created insights. We got insight scoring coming for all the other insights in January. We got insight enrichment that is now working, and we got opportunity reveal to every journey that you manage. And of course, bubbling up all that data all the way up through your journey framework in the different levels that you have. We call journey summarization. It is all available now. And what is next, hinting about where we're going, is that we should be starting source streaming. So the first feedback source that we're going to unlock is Qualtrics. It's the obvious one. Most of you use, or a lot of you use Qualtrics. There's a lot of people that use different platforms, but all your surveys should be able to be going into your journeys, be revealed by mining insights into the journeys that you have, and then making sure that all that quantitative metrics like your CSAT and NPS is there, but also your qualitative insights find their way into the scoring system, giving you a real in-depth, accurate view of where the biggest pain in all these journeys are. The next thing, and this is also powerful, is that you want to actually have journey-based dashboards, right? We have created that whole like level 0 overview, but that's not enough. You also want to have data visualization on top of all these data that is coming in, because it's a lot. What used to be a journey of 20 insights can now be a journey of 20,000 insights if you look at the whole tree that's coming down. So you really want to understand like what is influencing churn? Okay, network coverage. Can we do something about that? What is the top pain point? And where is then the opportunity? So these kind of capabilities are coming today to all our workspaces. Tracing back. Now you can trace it back to a single quote. But what about the whole evidence repository to have full control over what goes in and what you're actually mining from? These are some of the initiatives that we are already building and will be rolling out in the next few months into your workspaces. And the last bit of that is obviously opportunity scoring, journey scoring, moving that scoring through that whole system so you actually have something that connects the dots across everything. But that's just the start. I'm thinking about the things that we have already in our roadmap, we're already developing, but there are some more exciting things coming along in the next year. So please stay tuned. I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions that we had today, but we're going to make sure that everyone who had a good question will get a follow-up from us through the different channels. But more importantly, go and check it out, play with it, and please keep on giving us your fantastic feedback. What works, what didn't work, what you would like to see, what you would like it to do, because we're all in this together. And it was phenomenal to be sharing what we've been up to with you today. And I want to say a big thank you to Justas for joining us, but also to the whole crew at TheyDo for making this possible, for working with us, and to the 35 design partners that were part of our journey to get this in place. So thank you, everyone. I'm super excited. This is rolling out to all our workspaces, and I can't wait to hear what you're doing with it and to learn what works, what doesn't work, and where we can do a lot more magic for you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Justas. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and see you next time.